So, all right. Well, moving on to number 77 with 85 votes. He came in at number 40 on Mongoose's list, and he came in at 77 on your list, Andretti. So, and that is Mistico.
A lot of stuff you can say about this guy, man. I mean, what a just an up and down career that he's going to be one of those guys that when he hangs it up finally, down the road when people start writing books about this guy, it's going to be really interesting. He's going to be a really interesting guy to cover historically down the road. I mean, he's the only luchador to ever win the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Wrestler of the Year award. He's the only luchador to ever do that, and it's crazy. This guy. I mean, if we try to do this just chronologically, I mean, an enormous draw, man, enormous draw. I mean, he maybe one of the biggest draws in the world for almost a decade at that point, from 2000 to 2009. I mean, his run just unbelievable run, man. Again, like when you see these people in the vacuum, right, and what they mean to that area or that promotion of CMLL for him. It's selling out, man, all the time. People love this guy. He's still moving tickets. I mean, they had that show, the AEW show in Houston. The guy moved like 3,000 or 4,000 tickets, just by announcing that Mistico was going to be on that card. That's a big deal. That's a big deal to think about that. But it's crazy because he's such a victim of going into WWE at the wrong time, right? Where you go there and they just strip everything from you, right? And they turn you into what they want you to be, and they take away the character and all that stuff. His WWE run is crazy, man. He's in there as Sin Cara. The guy just immediately looks like he don't give a fuck, right? He's in there. He's just, and look, these are other people's words, are not mine. People are saying the guy's not putting in any effort. He's lazy, yada, yada. I mean, there's certainly clips of it, with him, not putting in much effort, and, abrasive, I think too, backstage, and just a guy that just, for whatever reason, it just didn't work. And they punished him for it, man. And they really did. They punished him for it. And then the guy I mean, that was a major, major signing for WWE when they brought him in. And I remember everybody thinking that was going to be a huge deal, and that guy just shit the bed, man. And it hurt him big time. It really hurt him big time. Because then he went back to Mexico, wrestling as Carlistico, right, which was kind of a play on his Mistico name. But the guy right now, Dralistico in AEW, who people probably know from the AEW run, but he's also a Mexican wrestler, obviously. He actually was Mistico 2 in Mexico whenever Mistico 1, which is Sin Cara, was Sin Cara, right? So I know it gets a little confusing sometimes with the Lucha Libre stuff, but when Mistico went back, Dralistico gave him the name, right? So then that guy became Dralistico, and then Mistico became Mistico. So look, I know it's a little confusing, but it's a big deal. The names in Mexico are a big deal. The masks are a big deal. So for him to go back to that character was really an important thing for him, and I think it kind of just reinvigorated that guy, man, because this is a guy that's got world-class talent. He always has. But up and down career, man. The speed. Again, I know we're talking about speed with, the NXT women and Waltman and whatnot, kind of being a theme here. That I didn't even expect that, but kind of being a theme, just the speed, the agility with him, the high flying. I mean, the guy just, even now at 40 years old, he's on top of the world, and sometimes I think just sometimes, man, when you see these guys in that environment, in their particular environment, it can be kind of hard to measure them and what they mean to that environment, and sometimes when they leave that environment and it doesn't fit, it just doesn't fit. I mean, you take a look at like the WCW stuff, right? When ECW, when ECW was running those shows in small arenas and the crowd is just insane, right? And people are throwing stuff in the ring and it's a big deal. And you feel like you're a part of something when you're at those shows, right? And then WWE buys ECW, they put ECW into arenas and it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work in that environment, right? And that's I think that's maybe part of some of the things that happen to these luchadors, they're such big stars in that environment that when they step out of it, maybe it's just not the right fit. I mean, I think, maybe a way to look at that too. We're measuring wrestlers that are from all these different promotions, but not all those promotions are equal. They're all unique and they all stand out in their own individual way, right? So when you look at people that play football in the CFL, right? The CFL's got different rules. They've got their own stars, right? They've got all these badass, stars in the CFL. I mean, it's hard to measure what that guy's accomplishments is versus somebody that plays in the NFL, or versus somebody that plays in maybe somebody's really good in the USFL in that environment, right? Or even NFL Europe, something like that. Like, all those people matter, and they all matter in that vacuum that they exist in. And sometimes when they leave that or go from one environment to another, maybe it just doesn't translate over. And I really think that that's kind of what it is with the luchadors that end up coming to the United States, from Mexico. And also the fact that the rings are different, dude. Especially the ropes are different. I mean, everything is different. You got to learn new style, is what it is when you go to WWE. And I think Mistico is probably a victim of that, like a lot of others have been over the course of time. But when you look at that guy just in that Arena Mexico environment, dude, and you see those people going crazy, and he's a big time star for them, man, it's just so awesome. It's so awesome to watch it and just immerse yourself in what it is. Just love what it is, man, and watch what it is. If you just keep your focus on what it is. And if you can do that, you're gonna have an unbelievable time watching wrestling, and you're gonna see that this guy is a major deal and a major star and a big draw, and somebody that is absolutely deserving of being the wrestler of the year for sure.
Yeah, some accomplishments that you already mentioned were biggest for Observer stuff. He was best box office draw of the decade, best flying wrestler, and wrestler of the year, and Observer Hall of Fame in 2022. And I just know that for myself that, Mistico, I didn't even know that that's who it was. I just know him as Sin Cara. So like, I just don't, no one really cared about Sin Cara in WWE. So like, that's what sucks, is like when stuff doesn't fit and you go outside of, your home base and you take the big WWE stage, it can engulf you. And that's kind of what it seems for that guy. And that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, he was also IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion one time too. Here's a testament to him. I mean, for the match that I think people should go check out, is the Templario match. And that match happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, that guy's 40 years old. Him and Templario put on like a 4.5, 5-star match like 2 weeks ago, man. It's just, go find it. Yeah, go find that match. You can watch the highlights on YouTube. Even if you just watch the highlights, you're going to see that these guys were in there just killing it, right? Templario was really good too. So he was in there with a guy that was really good. The Volador match from Fantastic Mania 2019 is another one to go check out, the singles match with him. But he really got a stigma, dude, from that Sin Cara run with the American audience about, God, Sin Cara sucks, right? People were like, this guy doesn't get, he just doesn't do anything. He's missing moves. He doesn't care. You know what I mean? And he kind of got that stigma. But now that he's back as Mistico, and had a really good run, his confidence is way up, and he's in there and he's having a great time and is killing it, man. Go watch that guy. Go watch that guy in Arena Mexico in CMLL, and you're going to see a guy that is deserving of all the